Soviet attack on an unarmed civilian passenger plane. Words can scarcely express our revulsion at this horrifying act of violence. The United States joins with other members of the international community in demanding a full explanation for this appalling and wanton misdeed.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight. Reporting from Washington, Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone, but the Soviet Union says the Soviets did shoot down a Korean 747. 269 passengers and a crew were on board, and in the absence of any wreckage, we can only assume their fate. One of the passengers was Congressman Larry McDonald of Georgia. The attack on a commercial airliner, whether the Soviets knew it was that or not, has caused an outrage. We begin with our Pentagon correspondent, John McQuethy, who tells us how it all began.
The Korean airline jumbo jet, similar to this, began its trip in New York Tuesday night. It flew to Anchorage, Alaska for refueling, then proceeded towards Seoul, South Korea, its intended destination. According to various government accounts, the plane began straying off course near the Kamchatka Peninsula, Soviet territory. Government sources say it was so far off course that it was heading for the Soviet city of Vladivostok, not South Korea, and that during its flight it passed over one of Russia's most sensitive military installations, the submarine base at Petropavlovsk. Secretary of State George Shultz.
At approximately 1600 hours Greenwich Mean Time, the aircraft came to the attention of Soviet radar. It was tracked constantly by the Soviets from that time. The aircraft strayed into Soviet airspace over the Kamchatka Peninsula and over the Sea of Okhotsk and over the Sakhalin Islands. The Soviets tracked the commercial airliner for some 2.5 hours. We know that at least 8 Soviet fighters reacted at one time or another to the airliner. The Soviet plane was, we know, in constant contact with its ground control. A Soviet pilot reported visual contact with the aircraft at 1812 hours. At 1826 hours, the Soviet pilot reported that he fired a missile and the target was destroyed. At 1830 hours, the Korean aircraft was reported by radar at 5,000 meters.